I've always heard teachers say, oh, before holidays kids get crazy, and I'm like, really? Do they? And now I believe that, and I feel like a lot of times when I do teach on the spot, it goes really well. That's really awesome that they customize it for you. They were surprised when they came in from lunch because I had decorated our door. And as soon as they saw me, they were like screaming happy birthday. It was the warmest welcome. It made me feel so good. I like to connect with my families in any way that I can. Teach my kids sign language because they like it and it helps them remember things. So it'd be I can explain voting. Well, it's Monday, but you can't really see me. I've got on my favorite olive green pants from J. Crew, a pink top that's actually stapled because it comes open, a navy cardigan because it's freezing outside, and my rose gold to match my rose gold earrings. I'm really excited for how this week is gonna go. It is gonna be so much fun. I'll let you know how today goes after school. I'm hoping that this new kind of mindset I have about guided reading changes things a little bit for me in a good way. I'm not getting coffee this morning because I made it at home. I'm gonna do good this week, and I'll catch up with you soon. Okay, so it is Monday after school. I'm gonna keep it short just because my husband is at home waiting on me, so I'm gonna try to go home to him pretty quickly. But today was an interesting day. I love Mondays. I always love Mondays. It's a fresh start. It's a new week, and this week in particular is going to be crazy for sure. We've got a lot of different things going on this week. Wednesday is Halloween, Friday is my birthday, and Thursday I hope is going to be our escape room. But I also might get a pop-in observation, and if I get a pop-in, I'm going to have to figure out what I'm going to end up doing if they come during my escape room. So I'm hoping they don't, just because it's not the flow of like an actual lesson. So I'm really hoping they don't come on that day because I'm gonna have it all prepped and ready, so I'm not gonna have any other option but to do it. No, I'm just like hoping that doesn't happen. My kids did a pretty good job today during centers. Again, I'm trying the whole new approach to guided reading, only doing a book for one day, and I've got to say, like, just thinking about it in a different way, thinking about it like I'm spending one day on a book and not 2 days on a book. I do teach it a little bit differently. I don't draw it out as much, and I'm gonna see how my kids are at the end of the week, check in with them because they're going to be reading the same books we've already read during guided reading. So we'll see how all of that goes. I did bring my kids donuts this morning because I forgot to bring them cookies on Friday because I'm the worst. One of my things is if you do get in centers, you get a smiley face. So they get a smiley face for the morning time for literacy and the afternoon time for math. If they get more than 2 frowny faces, they don't get cookies. They're allowed to have 2 days where it's like, oh, we can do better. Because I always tell my kids it's okay to make mistakes. Mistakes make us stronger. They teach us important lessons. They make us better. So I let my kids make those mistakes. Some teachers out there might think, you know, they have to be perfect if they want cookies. For me, it's okay for my kids to make mistakes because we learn from them. And who knows how that behavior management routine is going to change later on. Right now, this is working for me. I just forgot to bring them the cookies, so they got donuts because I can just stop by the gas station and pick up donuts really quickly. This Friday I'll remember though. A lot of my kids are really excited for Halloween. I can tell already. I'm trying to make this week not too much of a Halloween week. Really just focus on Halloween being on Wednesday and just make it a really big deal. So we're gonna have a really fun party. I've got all these games planned. It's gonna be fun. And we're also reading a lot more books in our whole group literacy. So normally in a week we would do 2 books, one read aloud, one shared reading, and we would read them multiple times. But like I said, I'm focusing on more text. So our standard is comparing 2 different texts on the same topic. So I'm doing one set of books and then another set of books. The first set of books is what I started on today. I'm gonna do it today, which is Monday, and tomorrow, which is Tuesday. It's Ricky the Rock That Couldn't Roll and Stick and Stone. So Ricky the Rock That Couldn't Roll is my interactive read aloud, and Stick and Stone is my shared reading. And Stick and Stone is a pretty low level book, but we got pretty deep into it and they were able to read it with me, and they were so excited about that, and they ended up loving the book. And Ricky the Rock That Couldn't Roll was something that I had to really get through with them, and you know, I was asking them all these questions, and it has higher vocabulary, and they were into this story. And then we talked about at the end how they were similar, and tomorrow we're going to start mapping all of our thoughts on an anchor chart. We just didn't have time today because there's never enough time for anything. And then on Wednesday we're going to start with Jabari Jumps and Fish and Snail, and we're gonna compare those two books. So I'm really excited for this week, all the things we're gonna be doing in literacy and math, the new things I'm trying, and yeah, I'm just looking forward to it. So I'll check in with you guys tomorrow. Okay, it is Tuesday afternoon. For some reason it feels like a Friday, like I should just have the weekend tomorrow, but nope, it's Halloween tomorrow. So let me just back up. This morning I slept until 6 on purpose. I snoozed my alarms. I was like, I'm not gonna wake up until 6 today, and I got up. And normally if I snooze my alarms, I feel like terrible, but I felt really great this morning. I was in the best mood. I made coffee at home. I was jamming on my way to work. Like, it was great. I get into the classroom. My kids come in the quietest they've ever come in. They were making these awesome STEM creations, because we do STEM first thing in the morning, kind of while we wait for announcements, and it was just the best start to my day. And then it got weird. I don't know why. They just started acting, sorry, oh, it's so awkward. They just started acting odd, and then it went from odd to crazy. My kids were acting straight up crazy. They were crazy at specials. We had to go and apologize to the PE coach because we were not listening, and then when we went to apologize, half the kids were like looking around, not listening, and I'm like, we're literally here to apologize because we didn't listen in PE, and you're still not doing it. Like, we wrote him all letters. Like, they just could not get it together. I don't know what happened, but all day long I had to stop and ask them, what's happening right now? Somebody raised their hand, we're talking when you're talking, or somebody raised their hand and say, we're not listening. I'm like, okay, so what do we need to do? Listen. Okay, what are we gonna do? Listen. 5 seconds later. Oh my gosh. I don't know why it was happening, but it happened all day long. It happened into math. We haven't even been making it to math centers because my kids have just been acting crazy, and I'm like, I think it's because it's the day before Halloween, and maybe I should have expected it. I've always heard teachers say, oh, before holidays kids get crazy, and I'm like, really? Do they? And now I believe them, because my kids, for no reason, were just acting insane today. And today was pajama day. I am wearing like pajamas, so maybe that's why I was in such a good mood this morning, is because I didn't really have to get dressed, but I feel like maybe it added to the chaos of the day. I don't know. I also left my glasses today. Turns out they were in my car. If I could just like not forget something for one day, that would be great. But anyway, so after school, kind of just sat in my library, because that's where I go after school when I need to just sit and rest, because my library is very calming and very peaceful to me, and I just like it. So I sat there with the lights off and the lamps on, and I just sat in my library, and I was like, okay, tomorrow's gonna be better. But it's Halloween and our schedule is gonna be crazy, and we have all these different things going on at school, so who knows what tomorrow is even gonna look like. I went to Dollar Tree after school and got a couple things for the Halloween games we are playing tomorrow. I spent less than $10 and we're gonna have a lot of fun, so I'm excited about that. And I went to Kohl's and got some new reading buddies. I'm sitting here telling you all this when I could literally show you. This is what my seat looks like right now. This is like escape game stuff. This is stuff for tomorrow, and we're working on a STEM project, so I got some things for that. I got some reading buddies. There's Mickey and Minnie. I know they're gonna be excited about that. They love, love, love our reading buddies. And I went to Ulta because I needed some more Bare Minerals, because whenever I'm like feeling lazy and in a rush, I always put on Bare Minerals, because you don't really have to pay attention when you put on powder foundation. You can just kind of swirl it and go. So I needed some more of that. But yeah, today definitely tested my patience in so many ways, and I'm not used to that because I feel like I really have a strong class behavior-wise. I feel like they really are awesome kids. And I tried lots of different things. I tried the apology note thing. Didn't work today. I tried, going around saying how we can do better. Didn't work today. I tried just silence. Didn't work. Tried putting heads down. Didn't work. I'm telling you guys, all day long, it was just crazy. I threatened to take away the Halloween party today. That worked a little bit. And then one of the kids was like, well, then I won't bring ice cream. And I was like, oh, it's just one of those days, but still love them. I even told them, I was like, you're driving me crazy right now. I still love you, but you're driving me crazy. And they were like, sorry, Miss Cole. If you're sorry, can you please try a little bit harder? I'm just kidding. Some of my kids think it's funny to make fun of a little girl and tell her, oh, you have a crush on so-and-so. And I'm like, why is this happening in first grade? Maybe I just forgot what it was like. I just didn't think there were crushes in first grade. Anyways, I look forward to talking to you guys tomorrow. Hello, it is Wednesday. I don't know why it took so long. Okay, yeah, it's Wednesday. It doesn't feel like a Wednesday at all, though. It feels like a Friday because it's Halloween. I'm rocking my call Halloween t-shirt. My kids got a kick out of it. Also, I wasn't sure if I could wear jeans today, so I'm wearing brown pants. Brown. I feel kind of weird wearing orange, black, and brown, but it like matched my watch. I'm wearing black shoes to match the black up here. I don't know, y'all. I'm terrible with fashion, but I wasn't sure if I can wear jeans, so this is what we ended up with. Let's talk about my first Halloween as a teacher. I wrote a couple things down because I wanted to remember certain things today. I feel like whenever I sit down and talk to you guys, I forget a lot of what I want to say, so I'm gonna try to like make little notes. So first thing is we had a tornado drill. And we knew it was a drill. They announced that it was like a necessary drill. So that was fun. And then nice way to start off Halloween, right? And then afterwards, because we had events that we were doing as a school, like fun events that the school planned, we didn't have our intervention groups, and so I didn't even know that until today. I guess I like missed the memo because I was expecting for them to leave right after specials, but then I realized, oh, we don't have those groups, and I was like, perfect, because I was kind of worried about how I was going to fit my STEM project in. So we've started this week reading Ricky the Rock That Couldn't Roll, which I already told you guys, and Jabari Jumps, and Stick and Stone, and The Story of Fish and Snail. And so I kind of made a little STEM project for them to do. They're making a water slide for Ricky the Rock, so it brings in like the water aspect of 2 books and then Ricky the Rock from the 1 book. Anyways, they were really excited about it. So on Monday we kind of talked about what we could do, and on Tuesday they started planning, and today they sketched out their water slide designs, and it was really cool because you could see some of their little architectural minds like working, and a lot of them were building like supports for the slides. So they had drawn like a slide and then had supports, and a couple of them had lots of twists and turns. And then and this was kind of like all on the spot the way I was teaching this, and I feel like a lot of times when I do teach on the spot it goes really well but maybe that's not a good thing. But I was like, okay, we're gonna break into our groups. So for math they have honeybees, crickets, fireflies, and dragonflies, and for me it's just easy to group them like that. So I said, okay, you're gonna get into your groups and you're gonna talk about which slide you guys want to build, because you're gonna be building it as a team. I thought about having them build individual slides, and I was like, no, I think I kind of want to give them like a team project. I think it, for 1, will be easier to manage. For 2, I don't have enough supplies. And for 3, it's just more fun to watch them kind of struggle together. It's really cute. So they broke into their groups, and I kind of listened in on their conversations, and I was really impressed with the things they were saying and why they were picking certain people's. Like some of them had like a ton of like turns, and they were like, I don't think that's gonna work. Or some of them were like, the slide started here and it would like go straight and then like go down, like I don't know. But they were justifying their reasons why they were picking them, and I had them all come back together. And something I've been using a lot in my room is the AirPlay feature. So if you have, you know, Apple devices, then you probably know what AirPlay is. So you can basically connect an Apple device to like a TV or a projector or something. So I connected my iPad to the projector, and I went around and I showed each group's top choice, and I had them explain to the whole class why they picked it, and it was just a really good moment. And it was something that I came up with kind of like on the spot, but it was like really working for us, so they were excited about that. So I'm excited to see them actually build their slides tomorrow. We'll see. I feel like some of them are going to change their designs once they actually start building, but that'll be really cool to watch. I don't know what the next thing says. Comparing. Oh, I was really excited because this is something I do in my classroom a lot, is connect what we're learning to our bodies. We're very like hands-on when it comes to those kind of things, and I teach them a little bit of sign language, but anytime we are like talking about our learning targets, I always have them stand up and we do some kind of motion. So like one of them is I can, and we say I can compare 2 different texts or something like that. And I was like, what were we talking about yesterday? What have we been talking about? And they were looking at me and they were thinking, and I was like, they said comparing, and I just really like when they have those moments. I feel like that's just a really good example of how much connecting ideas and concepts to their bodies helps them remember things, because it happens all the time. If they're trying to spell a word or something, we'll like do our little motions. It just works out so nicely, and they're so into it, they love it. So yeah, that's something that's been really working in my room, is connecting ideas and concepts to their body. The last thing I have is Fish Snail, which is the book we're reading, The Story of Fish and Snail, but I can't remember why I wrote that down. Why did I write that down? I will say though, that since we've been comparing texts this week and telling how they're alike and talking about the central message, the two we compared on Monday and Tuesday were Ricky the Rock That Couldn't Roll and Stick and Stone, and then today we started Jabari Jumps and Fish and Snail, and they are really, really good at this, and I really love reading with them in any shape or form. But it's just talking about books is a conversation I love having with my kids, and they bring in so many different perspectives, and I'm always surprised at what they say. But I don't remember why I wrote that down, but it's been a lot of fun. If you haven't read Fish and Snail, it's a really cute book. I think it's one of their favorites. So my kids' behavior today was actually really, really good. Like, they were surprising me because I was so nervous because yesterday was kind of iffy, and then I was like, okay, today is Halloween, they're gonna be crazy. They actually weren't crazy. It's starting to rain, that's okay. You can tell it's like windy. They came in after lunch, and they knew that after we did writing, we were gonna have our Halloween party. What I'm saying is we didn't have math today, and that's okay. It was scheduled by the school what time we would have like our grade level parties, and ours was during math, so we didn't have math, but we're gonna have a really good math tomorrow. I'll tell you about that in a second. I'm getting ahead of myself because I'm so excited. But we're supposed to have like 30 minutes, but I gave them like 40 minutes. During lunch, I set up for our Halloween party. So they come in from lunch, and they couldn't really see it. It was just me getting out supplies and stuff. And they were like, where's the decorations? I was like, I didn't decorate, I'm sorry. I didn't have time for that. But we come in, we do our writing, it's great. They're actually helping each other, and then we start our first game, which was like ghost poop. I'll show a picture of like all the materials I had. I basically just went to Dollar Tree, and it was really inexpensive, and it was a lot of fun. For ghost poop, I printed off pieces of paper that just had ghosts on them. I put marshmallows on those papers, mini marshmallows, and then across like the room there was another table that had papers of a toilet, and they had to use a straw to suck up the marshmallow, so like it creates a suction, and they had to carry it over to the toilet to like clean up the ghost poop, and they thought it was hilarious, and it was great. Then after that we did pumpkin teeth collector. I had candy corn in a little bucket, and then pumpkin, like a picture of a pumpkin with like its mouth open on the other side of the room. So they had spoons, and at first I was gonna have them put the spoons in their mouth and then scoop it, but I realized that was gonna be way too hard. So they just used their hands, and they were like scooping the pumpkin teeth and carrying it over to the pumpkin, and even that was like super exciting to them. They loved it. And then towards the end they just started cheating, and they like would scoop it, like hold it with their hands so it wouldn't fall, because I told them like, hey, you guys are only gonna get to eat the candy corn that makes it to the pumpkin, because they were going a little bit crazy and like trying to rush over and dropping all the candy corn on the floor, and I was like, you're not gonna get to eat that candy corn, you only get to eat what your team collects. And then all of a sudden they were like, everything has to make it. So right after that we did witch wart pie. So basically I had a chocolate chip cookie, and I pretended like that the witch baked her warts into the cookie for the chocolate chips, and we played the cookie face game where like you had to keep a cookie in your face and you like get it to your mouth. So many of them failed miserably, and some of them were just standing there the whole time like thinking it was just gonna end up in their mouth, and some of them were like really trying, and it's funny because they make like the craziest faces. I bet that was a crazy face. Of course I have marker. I think only like one kid successfully did it without cheating. But yeah, they're 6. They still enjoyed it. The next thing was mummify. So basically I had them in their same 4 teams, and then I started wrapping toilet paper around one person, and then I would play music, and the one person on their team would wrap, and then I would stop it. They would hand the toilet paper to someone else, and then it was their turn to wrap on their own team, and the team that finished first won. So I was like playing music, stopping music, they were switching, the toilet paper was breaking, they were freaking out, and it was great. The very last thing we played was pumpkin bump. So I literally just blew up pumpkin, wrote on them with Sharpie for their faces, and we just hit balloons around the room. And this was the craziest thing, because I forgot to tell them before we started, like, don't go in the library, don't go behind my desk. So like balloons were going everywhere, and they were screaming, and I was like, guys, why are we screaming? But it's okay, they went a little crazy. I calmed them down. It was just fun. And then afterwards it was the little party for kindergarten through 2nd grade, so we all went to the gym, and it was basically like this big DJ party. And those situations like stress me out when all the kids are just everywhere, because it was basically like the gym was a dance floor, and they had like a DJ set up, and there were speakers and lights and all this fun stuff. But like kids come up to me and like they start crying and things like that, and as much as like they love it, there's certain kids who are just more introverted who wanted to just stay with me the whole time, which is okay. And I actually had a girl lose her tooth during the party too, so that was fun. And then after that, we actually did our little human car wash thing. So we had a school-wide competition selling the most Otis Spunkmeyer. And basically what ended up happening was our principal had to go through a human car wash. The top sellers of each grade got to dump water on her and like scrub her down and like use a leaf blower to dry her off and hose her, and it was really, really fun. We did it outside, and I don't know, just things like that are fun, even though they can be a little bit crazy. But the kids got a big kick out of it. Then after that, we went inside, and we had a little bit of time to fill before dismissal, so I pulled out Charlotte's Web, and they were just talking because they were all hyped up, and I made a big deal out of it. I closed my book, I put it down, and I just sat there, and their faces when I do things like that are like scared. And like, I don't do anything mean to them, but I'm just sit there and I look really, really upset. And then we talk about it, and I was like, guys, I really love reading to you, but when you talk when I'm reading, it makes me think that you don't care. And I talk about how it's like disrespectful and things like that. And I was like, raise your hand if you want to hear this book. And like almost every kid raised their hand. I was like, okay, do you think it's fair to those kids who want to hear the book to sit here and talk? They were like, no. And I was like, some of them were the ones that were talking. But that's just how kids are. Anyway, we read Charlotte's Web. They're really into it. And we're actually finding a lot of vocabulary words that we've been learning in a lot of our read-alouds. And it's really fun for them to kind of get excited when they hear a word that I've explicitly taught them. They're like, oh, determined, fierce. Like, they get excited about it. And that's why I like teaching vocabulary. But now I'm home. I'm doing an escape room tomorrow, so I'm kind of scared about that. I don't even know what to expect. But I brought in everything today. I brought everything into my costume that I'm going to use. And I'm not going to do like a ton of decorations because I don't have time. Since I'm planning it for math, but I will talk more about that later. I do have a Pamper Teacher box that I want to open. That Pamper Teacher originally sent me the September box, but it never made it to me because of like my mailing address, so I got the October box, which I liked, and clearly I'm wearing the lanyard. They sent the September box back to me so I could still open it. So let's see what's inside. All I've done so far is cut the thing because apparently I'm just really embarrassing when I cut myself or cut the box on camera. So here we go. So this is the first thing you see. Be the change you wish to see in the world. I guess tells you everything that comes in the box. Kind of want it to be a surprise. Maybe I should read it. I don't know. I'm so torn. Do you guys read cards before you open gifts? A travel mug, perfect for your morning cup of coffee. Peruvian beans. Oh, I love this box already. Okay. Peruvian beans from Cervantes Coffee. Each packet makes 10 to 12 cups to keep you alert and focused. Hand sanitizer spray. Perfect. Mantra bracelets. These silicone bracelets can handle messy classroom activities and are embossed with positive mantras to keep in mind all school year. I've been really looking into like the mindfulness practices that a lot of teachers have been doing on Instagram, so I'm really interested in this. Tote with a quote. This tough canvas tote can hold your books and papers, while the quote honors National Hispanic Heritage Month. Final decal. Look inside the travel mug for a personalized decal that can be applied to almost any surface. Got blue paper. I do have a code. I think it's pamperteacher.com/MrsCallsCampers. The first thing that's catching my eye is the coffee, so I'm gonna go straight for that. Locally roasted Cervantes coffee. I love trying coffee from pretty much anywhere. Usually I like getting coffee beans and grinding them, but I know probably a lot of people don't have grinders, so it's already ground coffee, so I'll have to make it in my coffee pot. And I have the lid to the Pamper Teacher cup, and this will come in handy because I feel like my mugs at some point are always dirty. So it's always nice to have a clean one I can go to. I might actually just keep this one at school because they brew coffee for us in the office, I guess, all day long, and I didn't know about that until recently, so I can just keep this mug at school and wash it there. I haven't really dedicated a mug to that yet, so that will be a nice use for this one. Kind of an interesting top. It's like a suction cup. Perfect. So, and then inside, they said it was a personalized decal. And I was really confused, but it says my name! And then it says today is. So I guess this is something you'd put on your whiteboard. And actually I stamp my students with like a date stamp. I have a date stamp and it's like my favorite thing in the world. So I'll have to think about what I could do. Actually, I like the decal for me to just put on, have like a little mailbox, I might use it for that. I don't know, there's so many different things you could use it for, but that's really awesome that they customize it for you. Next are these mantra bracelets. It says, mantra means tool of thought or something recited to focus the mind. Use these bracelets to stay focused on the positive each day. I'm just gonna rip it open. So be the change, see the good, are what the bracelets say. And I can think of something I could do in the classroom is give these out to students who are kind of doing a really good job, like standout students. I do a student of the week, and maybe they could like wear the bracelet that week. We talk about how it's okay to make mistakes and growth mindset and all that, so maybe I could let the students who are really kind of showing these qualities and traits wear the bracelets. I think that is kind of a good idea. The last thing is a tote. Goes like this: teaching is touching life. So this tote is like, you can't really tell. It's big enough for a binder, like it's more than spacious enough for that. I actually really appreciate getting this because I've been wanting a bag to keep in my car, just if I have extra things that I have in there that I need to take to school. For some reason my car is like always full of stuff, and if you see me vlog in my car, you probably think I'm crazy, which I am. But I always am like bringing stuff into school that I wouldn't like put in my teacher bag, that I would just carry. I'll just leave this in my car so I can easily carry things. And I like that it's neutral. I like that it's neutral. I'm not really like a big pattern person or like color in general. I say that wearing like a neon shirt, but it's Halloween. So. Oh, I forgot. There is also dropping things. It's sanitizer spray. I'm gonna try it right now. Peppermint and citrus. I don't usually worry too much about the things that are advertised on bottles, but if you care, it has none of that stuff. So let's spray it. Spray, sanitize, and go. It reminds me of something. What does that remind me of? I don't know. Don't you hate that when like smell something and you can't think of where you've smelled it before? I don't know, but it smells good. Speaking of smells, I'm kind of a weirdo in that, maybe I'm not a weirdo, I don't know. I have different perfumes like most women. Oops, drop things. I have different perfumes, and I have gotten to the point where I specifically buy perfumes to connect with certain experiences or things in my life. I'm like out of view. So like for high school, the perfume that I wore all the time was Bombshell by Victoria's Secret, so anytime I spray it, like I think of high school. For college, I have Daisy by Marc Jacobs, the original Daisy, like the first one, and I love that scent, but it reminds me of college because I wore it all throughout college. Well, I started being really intentional, so for student teaching, I got a perfume, and I couldn't really find anything that I like really liked, but I went with Victoria's Secret Heavenly. I sound like I really like Victoria's Secret smells. I really don't. I mean, they're okay, I guess, but like I just liked that Heavenly had kind of like a lighter scent to it, and I didn't want to spend like a ton of money, but I did want a perfume to like remember my student teaching experience. So I wore that perfume every single day. I kept the roller ball in my student teaching bag, like every single day. And the other day I put that perfume on for the first time since student teaching, and all of the memories came back, and it was the best feeling in the world. And that's what I was going for. Like I was kind of forcing that by wearing it every day and not wearing it for a while. So like I student taught, I wore it every day, then I stopped wearing it, and then when I sprayed it again, I immediately thought of my student teaching, and it was just a really nice morning for me. And then for my wedding, I chose Mademoiselle by Chanel. And now every time I wear that perfume, I think of my wedding and my honeymoon, and it's like the best thing ever. So kind of random. But if you're student teaching now, why don't you try having like a signature perfume? I don't know. I should have gotten one for my first year of teaching. I didn't. I've just been enjoying all the other memories through my scents. I am such a weirdo. I will talk to you tomorrow after my escape room, and I'm going to film a what's in my teacher bag. So I'll see you guys later. I don't even know where to start. I guess I can tell you it's Thursday after school, the day after Halloween, and you know, being a first year teacher and you know, not having student taught at this time of the year last year, I had no idea what to expect, and I was kind of expecting my kids to be hyped up on sugar or really tired or something, but it was fine. I mean, they were a little bit chatty, but that could just be that they were chatty today, so I didn't really notice anything different with their behavior. Only a couple of them brought me candy, so I'm a little disappointed. Just kidding. Maybe I am. I don't know. Yeah, some of them came in with like black circles under their eyes. And I was like, you didn't get any sleep at all last night, but they'll probably just pass out early today. Especially since today was a really eventful day for us. I had planned a couple weeks ago to do an escape room with them, but then I realized that the concept that we did it on, we were going to be teaching for a little bit longer. It was number bonds, by the way. And so I waited and decided that I would do it today. And it's the day after Halloween. I don't feel like that really affected it at all. I didn't want to do it tomorrow, which is Friday, because we already have way too much going on tomorrow, so I just decided to do it today, and it worked out nicely. So I dropped them off at lunch, and then during my lunch, I literally spent the entire time setting up for them. And it's not like I did like a ton of stuff or a ton of decorations. I literally just put tablecloths down. Well, I had to rearrange my room because I wanted them to be more in like little pots. I guess I can insert a picture. So I rearranged it into like 4 different pots, and I put on some tablecloths from Dollar Tree. One of the custodians brought me a ladder so I could reach the ceiling, and then they were like, hey, do you need any help? And I was like, actually, if you could put these up on the ceiling, that'd be great. So he actually hung them up for me, and I probably couldn't have gotten it done without him, because you know, lunch periods are extremely short. And I prepped all of the little boxes that they were going to unlock, and I had prepped the challenges, which I put in little envelopes for them. So everything was kind of put together very quickly. I don't want to say last minute because I knew what I was doing. But it was last minute. I just didn't get to school as early as I wanted to this morning because my dog decided to destroy my fiddle leaf fig tree. And I woke up to that and had to clean all that up. Our escape room was on number bonds, fact families, missing add-ins, all sorts of topics related to that, and they did a really, really good job. They were surprised when they came in from lunch because I had decorated our door, and I was like, what does it say? And they said, can you? And I was like, what else does it say? Because at the bottom it says escape, and they missed it. I guess some of them missed it. They were like freaking out because some of them knew like what an escape room was, and they had done it before. And I had a little envelope that was like in my little mailbox, and I read them like our first challenge. So we went inside, and I didn't put covers on all of the lights, but I still wanted them to be able to see. So some of the lights were like covered with red butcher paper, so it kind of had like a red glow to it. And all of the tables, you know, were covered and everything and moved, and so they were like speechless and then freaking out, and they were excited. And we did the first challenge together, and I kind of introduced to them the concept of what we were doing, and that, you know, it was kind of like a big puzzle. So they each had 4 different challenges, and they were in 4 different groups, and I had created the escape room by myself. I didn't like buy a resource, I just created it, and I made it for a low group, a medium group, a medium high group, and then a high group. And I split up my students accordingly. So each of the different envelopes had different activities that were differentiated, and so I told them who was going to be in each group, and then I had them pick a leader, and they only had 5 seconds to do it. So that was fun because everybody always wants to be the leader of the group, but they picked a leader, and I said that's the only person who's allowed to open the envelopes. They have to tell me when they think their team is ready to move on. So I kind of had arranged the tables in a circle in a way, so it was like a table here, 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 and here, and I was in the middle, and I was kind of circulating the whole time, and I had a trash can in the middle for like the pieces that were left over. So each team had the same 4 challenges, but they were differentiated for their level. The first one was like a task card challenge, and some of them didn't get all of the task cards out of the envelope, so they were like, Miss Cole, we don't have this one, we don't have this one. And I was like, you better check your envelope, make sure you're not missing anything. And they had to figure out what a symbol on the task card was, and it was like a number bond with like a missing number, and they had to match the symbol, put the answer next to the symbol on a different sheet, and then they had to find which number matched of those numbers. So like if they had 2 9s as their answer, the 9 was the number they needed to use for the next part, and they had to write all these different number sentences. And 2 of those groups I pretty much had to walk through how you do it because they couldn't read, and I knew I was gonna have to do that anyway. So the next envelope was magic number, and each pack for each group had a bunch of different papers in it, so that they had to work together as a team. And I told them, like, you're gonna have to work together to do this. There's no way you can do it on your own. You have to use your team, you have to help. And basically the papers each had 3 different problems on them, and it was like Mom said, or Jen said, Tom said, basically a name that was like a CVC word. So like Tom is T-O-M, just something really simple that I knew they could read. And each person said an equation, and they had to pick the wrong equation. So like, for example, if Tom said that 3 plus 7 equals 10, Jen said that 10 equals 3 plus 7, Dad said that 10 plus 7 equals 3, Dad is wrong. So then they had to take the letters in Dad, and I put like a little code, and D would equal 1, A would equal 2, and D would equal 1. They have to add all of the numbers together, and then they get their magic number, and they had to fill in all the different magic numbers, and that one was a little bit confusing for them, I think. Only the high group figured out like what you actually had to do, like how to match up the letters with the numbers. The other groups were like, we got it, but they didn't put the numbers in, so I had to walk them through that. But then once they figured it out, it was fine. Challenge number 3 was secret puzzler. So it was a word problem, and I basically typed the word problem and I cut it up into little puzzle pieces, and I didn't tell them what to do. They basically figured out that you had to put the puzzles together, and it was so funny because so many different kids were like taking different roles and leading their group and reading the word problem out loud, because not everybody in the group could read, and solving through it, and everybody had enough supplies to where they could all be working on things at the same time. So they all had their whiteboards, their markers, and they were going at it and solving it and using teamwork. And some of it was like they were arguing with each other, but it was honestly kind of fun to watch too, because the people who were arguing, if they were wrong, the other person had to explain to them why they were wrong. So it was really cool because they could teach each other, and I just thought it was a really, really good experience. So after the secret puzzler was their final challenge, and it was a bunch of different like number bonds and things like that, and they had to complete them all, and they really could only get the answer if every single one was right. And there were probably like, I think 6 different problems on each page, and then there were 3 different pages. And basically the answers in the number bonds had to be connected, and they created words. Pretend like this is the paper. If they got the number 12 here, 10 here, 11 here, the directions at the bottom said connect 12 to 10 to 11, so they would have to draw a line, and basically they were writing letters, and each paper had a separate letter. Some of them, like, they got the number bonds wrong, and they were like, it's not working, we don't get it, and I had to like go through and show them. I was like, okay, double check this one, double check this one. When they finally figured it out, the word was key, but some of my lower groups couldn't read the word. I was like, what does it say? And they're like, K. And then they had to figure out which box their key opened, and it was just so much fun. I had 4 locks on the board since we had 4 challenges, and every time the entire class got past one challenge, I unlocked it. And so it was just kind of cool to see like where the whole class was at, and they were being competitive, and they did get a little crazy. I cannot sit here and tell you that it was not loud in my room, because it was extremely loud. They were having so much fun. They were so engaged the entire time. It took them, I think, about an hour, give or take, to do all of the challenges, which is what I expected. And then afterwards we came back together as a group, we talked about it, and yeah, it took a lot of energy to do. And maybe it's just because it was my first, no, not because it was my first time, it just was exhausting, because I was walking around the whole time checking with groups, giving them little clues and things like that, and encouraging them, and putting out fires. Because some of them got a little bit heated and they thought they were right when really they like missed something. But it was a lot of fun, and I can't wait to do something like that again, because I even had students tell me at the end of the day that I missed call, today was the best day ever. So things like that are 100% worth it to me, even if I didn't get lunch that day, and even if I feel like it wasn't like the prettiest thing ever. They were still excited about, you know, $1 red tablecloths from Dollar Tree. Like that's all it takes, and like moving my room around. Definitely worth it. Definitely a lot of work, and I'll definitely do it again. The next thing I do is probably going to be more of like a room transformation, but I liked that I did an escape room first, because it's kind of like I tested out the waters of what it would be like. I definitely think I could have been a little bit more explicit about teaching how we do it, but I feel like they did a really good job. I am definitely tired. Those days are normally the days that I would stay after school and make copies for next week and do all that stuff, but I haven't even planned next week, and I'm just exhausted from today. But tomorrow's my birthday, so I probably won't do anything tomorrow on Friday. Again, today was wacky dress day, so I don't think I showed you what I was wearing. Okay, I'm wearing this like, it's not floral, well it is floral, tropical like blouse thing, and then a sleeve shirt, and then I have basically a long skirt that looks like this, and I'm wearing mismatched shoes, and my hair was like this all day long, but I took it down. And actually I tried a new dry shampoo, and it's the Pantene kind, and it smells so good. So if you're looking for another dry shampoo, I recommend the Pantene because it smells like I just washed my hair. Oh, after taking it down all day from it being out. Oh my gosh, I'm obsessed with it, but I will see you guys tomorrow. Hello and happy Friday. Hey, can you tell that it is my birthday today? I don't really get excited about my birthday. Like, I'm not really a big birthday person. Like, I don't care too much. I never really like go out and do anything for my birthday. And this is, of course, the first birthday I've ever had at school, but this is probably like the best birthday ever. As soon as I got to school, which was like 7:15, I basically rolled in right when I was supposed to be there because I had a birthday drink from Starbucks this morning and I used that, but they were really, really slow. And so I came in and my students were outside my door and they were so excited to see me, and they had balloons and flowers and just the biggest smiles ever, and they were so excited. And as soon as they saw me, they were like screaming happy birthday. It was the warmest welcome. It made me feel so good, and I got the best hugs today, and they sang me happy birthday like 6 times. And whenever it's their birthday, I make them stand up on one of our little coffee tables and we all sing to that person while they stand up on the table. And we got in the classroom and they were like, "Miss Call, get on the table," and they wanted me to stand up and do it. It was fun. It just felt really special all day long.
Happy birthday to you.
Thank you. We did our STEM projects for Ricky the Rock That Couldn't Roll and Jabari Jumps, like kind of like a dual STEM project. So Ricky the Rock That Couldn't Roll is about a rock who's like flat on the bottom, so he can't roll, and he like ends up being able to roll down a hill. And then we read 2 books about like jumping in the water, and so I kind of like combined the concepts and had them design and create water slides. But basically they had cups and tubes and tape and straws and tinfoil that they could use, and they had to work in teams to build slides. And we went outside today, we built them, we tested them, and they had so much fun. Almost all of their slides were successful except for one because it just dropped like straight down, and we talked about how like that wouldn't be safe at all and how we could make it better. And it was just a really, really fun day with me and my kids. The only thing is my mom and sister were supposed to come have lunch with us, but I told them the wrong time. Yes, we've had lunch the same time all year, but for some reason I said it was an hour later than we normally are, and I'm so mad because all of my kids were looking forward. They've already met my sister, they know her, they love her, and they were excited to just see them, and we were gonna have cupcakes. I did get plenty of cupcakes today. I got plenty of cupcakes and a lot of like homemade handwritten cards and things like that. Just none of that really matters, but today was just a really, really great day. I watched the first YouTube premiere I've ever done. It was the What's in My Teacher Bag, and I got to chat with like, I think about 50 people made it to the premiere, but it was right after school for me, so I know everybody on the West Coast couldn't make it. It's cool because like even people from Poland were able to show up, so I'm really excited about the new YouTube premiere feature. I think that'll be a really fun thing to do because if you have questions, you know, I can answer them right then and there because it's like a live chat in a video. It's really neat, so I hope you guys can make the next one. I'm gonna go home, enjoy my birthday, and yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Morning, for me at least. It is Sunday, and I feel really weird about planning this week because Tuesday is election day, so we don't have school. And Wednesday, I have a substitute because I'm going to a training. So basically, I'm teaching Monday, I'm teaching Thursday. On Friday, I don't really teach literacy because it's mostly just like testing in a way. And of course I teach math on Friday. So it feels like it's gonna be a really short week for me this week. And I'm kind of thinking about not planning for my sub on Wednesday until Tuesday. Just because planning for a sub for me takes so much time. So I don't think I want to throw that on myself today. I think I will probably, I know this sounds terrible, I think I might make a trip to the school Tuesday, at least just to drop off the sub plans and get everything ready. I don't feel like putting that on myself today. I don't know. It's also weird because we teach math in units, of course, and the units don't fall perfectly with the weeks. So a unit is not like Monday through Friday. It could be this Monday through, you know, next Tuesday, and we're starting measurement on Monday. And like I said, with this week being so crazy, it's like throwing it off even more, and we're probably gonna finish measurement next Wednesday or Thursday, but then, you know, nobody likes starting new things on Friday, and so it's just weird because I feel like I'm pretty good at planning 1 week at a time, and then when you throw in like finishing a unit in the middle of a week, it's kind of just weird. So I think that's what I'm struggling with right now as far as planning goes, is try to get started thinking about that, because usually I think, you know, what do I want my students to do at the end? And then I work backwards. But now I'm like, how much time do I actually have to get to that goal? Because do I want to start something new next Thursday or Friday? It's just like all these things you have to think about. And I'm wearing my pajamas because this is real life. This is what I look like when I plan on a Sunday. That's just life. And I got my free coffee because the Predators won. Saw them last night. I live in Middle Tennessee, so going to a Preds game isn't hard to do. So what I'm doing right now, or what I was doing before I turned on the camera, was kind of looking over the plans that we did as a team, because I've told you before we do a little plan in OneDrive, and I kind of just go off of that, but usually I change a lot of things because I really don't have a good reason other than these aren't really lessons. Like, these are not, obviously they're not lesson plans. It's not how you teach something. It's like what you are teaching. So that's why I write my own plans in my planner, so I know specifically what I'm gonna do. Sometimes the activities on here aren't specific, or maybe there's something that I really wanted to do. So we're gonna do Duck for President. It's gonna be voting next week, measurements. We're doing past tense verbs. We're doing digraph. But I'm just like stuck getting started. I don't know. It just feels like it's gonna be a weird week. Before I get into this, I'm gonna go ahead and do my weekly newsletter so I can show you guys how I edit that, and it is for sale at my TPT store. I think it's like $2 or something really cheap like that. But I use it every single week, and I just edit it from week to week, and then I'll probably just finish typing up my standards and figure out these dang lesson plans. Here's my weekly newsletter on Teachers Pay Teachers, in case you wanted to see it. Apparently it's only $1.50. I for some reason thought it was $2, but got 14 ratings and 4.0. You should try it. Shameless promotions. But this is my newsletter, and this is actually what I use. So usually the first thing I do is change the date. So I don't even know what the date is for this week. The 5th through the 9th. And you can see like over here all of the different ones I've edited and used. I literally use this every week. Okay, so the books I just use for literacy. This is what I use for writing, for math, and for science. We teach science or social studies each week, so I would just swap it out depending on what we're doing. And actually we are doing social studies this week, so I gotta put that there anyway. So this week we are doing digraphs. I don't really want to put the word digraphs in here because my parents are not gonna know what it is. So I'll just do, we're just SH and CK. And then we're doing characters, setting, and main events. Okay, so it's a little bit too big right here, so all I'm gonna do is drag it up. Bam. Okay, for writing, oh, finally, we're doing narratives. If I was president. Perfect. That's gonna be so much fun. See, I haven't even looked at that yet. And we're doing verbs past tense. All right, we're done with number bonds. We're done with missing add-ins. Now we're moving on to measurement. Say non-standard, because we're not using a ruler. We're using other objects to measure. So if I was measuring my laptop, I would say my laptop is 2 pens long. So that's what I mean by non-standard measurement. And then for social studies, like I said, we're doing election day, voting, all of that. So I'm just gonna put, yeah, that's good for my learning focus. And this newsletter template is completely editable. So everything you see me doing in here, if you get this newsletter, you can do it too. Because I know that what works for me isn't going to exactly work for everybody else. So this is what my message was, not this week, but the week before last, but I always start it with hello families, and I usually keep in this last part. So this is where I put my message for my parents and tell them what's going on this week, so I'll go ahead and type that. So I didn't really know what to say this week in my message. There's nothing I really need, so I just put a dojo challenge in here, and dojo challenges are something that I did over fall break for my kids, and they really liked them. I'm not sure really how many of my families read this, so we'll see. I know a lot of families tell me they'll practice the sight words or the spelling words every week, but there's no way for me to know how many parents are reading this. But I put a challenge on here, so if they do that challenge, I'll give them dojo points. I like to connect with my families in any way that I can, so we'll see if I get some participants in this. I have to update my dates. All right, so I've updated the dates for this month, and I even put something from December just to have it in there. I usually overlap some dates in there. Next is sight words. I usually just check our plans. So those are the sight words this week: around, by, many, place, walk. So I'll type those in. And then I put the spelling words on here, and usually those, once again, are in the plans. And our spelling words are based off of what we are learning up here. So we're doing SH and CK, so all of those words have SH or CK in them. That's kind of how our team does our spelling words. And then, so every Friday, basically, we give a little spelling test. And then we also give them these words over here, kind of as like bonus extra words. They don't count against them, but we just want to see if they can do them. Basically, the last thing I have to do on my newsletter is put in the specials. We, of course, are on a schedule for specials. I don't remember what they are, so I'll have to wait till Monday to finish putting those in. I actually sent out the wrong specials one week because I forgot to change them, but that's okay. So the newsletter is pretty much done, super quick, and I think it's super, super helpful. Next are my standards. I have a running document in PowerPoint called Weekly Standards that I edit every single week. So I have reading, writing, math, science, and social studies. And again, I only teach science or social studies each week, so usually it's just I update either one each week. So last week, this is what we were doing. And so this week I obviously have to update the social studies, so I'm going to update all of those. So when I'm typing up my standards, I always look at my lesson plans to see what the standard is that week, and then I double check with the scope and sequence. And if you've been watching, I just printed a copy of our scope and sequence and put it in the back of my lesson planner. So this week we are here. It tells me what I'm teaching each week, and this is something that was kind of put together over the summer. So there's like an order you do things. Before I was teaching, I didn't know that existed, but it does. So basically what I do is I look back in the scope and sequence, I look at the actual standard strand, and then I go into the actual government website. For me, it's Tennessee.gov, and I look at the full standard, because when we put it in our scope, when we put it in our lesson plans, we're not typing out the entire standard. But for me, it's really important to see what the entire standard is. That way I can make sure that I am truly meeting the standard, because for one, I'm a first-year teacher, and I don't know what the full standard says unless I look it up. And for two, standards change each year anyway. So the standard for social studies this week is 1.25 and 1.3 and 1.39. So I'm going to look up those. So it's identify the current city, country, mayor, governor, and president, and explain their roles in the government. That's one of them. Summarize that voting is a way of making choices and decisions. Use informational text to help describe the importance of celebrating these holidays, and Veterans Day is one of them. I actually just had to look up when Veterans Day was. It's November 11th. So that's on Sunday. So basically we have to talk about Veterans Day. I think that might be a good thing to leave for this sub, because I can leave a lot of like informational things. So that might be one thing I leave for my sub on Wednesday. So basically what I'm going to do now that I've been to the actual website, I'm going to copy those standards exactly how they are and put them into my weekly standards display. I don't know. I display the standards on a sheet of paper in my room every week, and then make our I can statements. And our I can statements are basically a kid-friendly version of the standards. It gives your kids a chance to understand the standards, take ownership of them. And so basically what I do is I have them in my PowerPoint slides so that I don't forget to say them. And before I do anything, before I launch the lesson, I always have them stand up to make sure they're actually engaging and they're not just sitting there tuning out. So if we were doing a standard that's voting and making choices, summarize that voting is a way of making choices and decisions. So we would say something like, I can explain, this is sign language for explain, so I can explain voting. I think that's voting. I would say, I can, and the students would say, I can explain, and they would say, explain voting. And it would just be something simple like that. Voting. I think it's more like, I don't know, voting is some kind of sign language like that. I looked it up because I knew we were going to be teaching voting, and I always like to teach my kids sign language because they like it and it helps them remember things. So I've seen it work in my classroom, so I like it. So it'd be, I can explain voting. Basically, I'll do that for all of my I can statements. A lot of times if it's, something technical, I won't look up the sign language, but something like voting is kind of easy. So if it was like explaining text features or key details, we just say, I can explain key details. Just something something really simple. It doesn't have to be a big deal, but I like to connect it to their body because it really does help them remember. So I'm gonna go ahead and type in all of my standards. That was a really long explanation, but that's what I'm doing. So these are the standards for the week that I am doing. I'm not gonna sit through and read them, but I mean, you can obviously pause the video if you wanna see. I didn't update science, but I updated social studies. For this one, I didn't put the whole standard because it's really long. I just put a couple dots. Really, we're just focusing on president, and I actually had to message my team because I wasn't sure how much I needed to fit in this week for social studies, because I know this standard comes back around and we cover it more in depth, but I didn't want to miss anything important. So basically, we're just talking about what a president does, and we're talking about voting and Veterans Day. And like I said, I think I'm going to leave Veterans Day for Wednesday when I'm out for them to do maybe something fun with a substitute. Guys, I've been planning for over an hour on this, and I don't know why it's so stressful for me right now, but it's just gonna be such a weird week. I'm like, what should I leave for my sub? I'm gonna be out on Tuesday. Things are happening Friday. Like, it literally took me forever to sit and get my plans down on paper. I have to be honest with you guys, this has been the toughest week for me to plan for yet. I usually have no problem coming up with plans and thinking about what I want to do, but it's just been tough, and I think part of it is because this week is like so choppy and short. So I will show you my plans, what I've got going on, and I guess start working on my PowerPoint. I might actually just make my PowerPoint for Monday and save the rest for Tuesday, because I don't feel like working on it right now, and I kind of just want to see how Monday goes. I just don't know what this is going to look like, and part of it is because I haven't seen this top before, and it just seems different to me. Right now I am just feeling a little lost, and that's something that's really hard for me to admit and hard for me to say, but I'll show you what I've got so far, and maybe I have it together more than I think I do, so I'll give you a peek. So this is my lesson planner, and of course I stick my team's plans right in the middle, so when I'm on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I can see them here, and when I'm on Thursday and Friday, I can see them here. So I'll just talk about the first part of my week. We are reading Deck for President, and our standard this week is focusing on characteristics, main events, and settings. So that's kind of what we're doing with this book, and it's also election week, so that's why we picked this book. So we're going to talk about his characteristics. I'm going to introduce the vocabulary, which I actually haven't looked at yet, so I need to do that. And then we're going to watch the video, What is a Leader? And talk about leaders we know, because they're going to be writing about what they would do if they were president. So we're just going to talk about what a leader is, and I talk about this in class all the time. We do leader versus boss. Yeah, but this video on YouTube is basically a bunch of kids saying what they think a leader is, and I kind of want to use that to transition into asking my class what is a leader, and then we'll talk about leaders we know. So then we'll go into our shared reading, which is Election Day. This is a book that's on reading A to Z that I'm going to use, and we're going to focus on digraphs sh and k, and then not k, sorry, k. We teach our kids not to put the at the end, so it's just k. And then we're doing past tense verbs. This is something I'm introducing. We did present tense verbs last week. And then we're doing focus on punctuation. We have a punctuation assessment to give at the end of the week that I actually made, and that's really cute. But small groups is something I also struggled with this week. I told you guys how I'm restructuring my guided reading, but this week, because we also have to give our reading common formative assessment, I have to get started on doing that, and I'm out Tuesday because of Election Day and Wednesday because of a sub. So my goal is to meet with my groups one time this week, and I've actually already checked out books for the whole week because I forgot this week was going to be crazy. So I have 2 books per group, but I'm only going to get to 1 book. So I plan on meeting with groups 1 and 2 on Monday, and then groups 3, 4, 5 on Thursday. And then on Friday, I'm going to start giving our common formative assessment for reading because it has to be done by the 16th, but it takes me a long time to do these things. So then for writing, the plans say to do if I was president, but I kind of wanted to stress to my kids, you don't have to be a president to make a change. So I'm going to have them start their writing with, I am a leader because. So just telling me why they are a leader, and then talk about what they would do if they were president. So I mapped it out on this little post-it note. I'm a leader because if I was president, I would. Next, I would. Last, I would. And then a closing that they can come up with. And of course, my higher kids are going to give maybe an extra reason or 2 in here, but this is kind of just the overall gist of what I want to do. So Monday, we're just brainstorming. For math, we usually start off with fluency and a number talk, and then I'm going to introduce non-standard measurement to them. We're going to do a little exploration. Basically, I'm going to tell them to measure their whiteboards using Unifix cubes, but I'm not going to tell them use Unifix cubes. I'm just going to say measure your whiteboard, and they're going to have cubes, and they'll probably be like, where's our ruler? I don't know what they'll do, but they're going to explore with that. And then we're going to talk about how we measure end to end. We don't overlap. We make sure everything is straight when we measure. So that's Monday. Tuesday, no school because of election day. Hashtag vote. Wednesday is my sub, so I kind of planned out what I wanted to do with her. For my substitute, I actually left like a lot of videos and I left a craft. I know you can leave things to teach with your sub and make it a normal day, but I found out that the subs we get sometimes don't really speak English, so I'm just gonna play it safe and have some videos. So they're gonna watch the video of Duck for President, and then they'll discuss setting, and then they'll talk about what they would do if they were president, which kind of goes with their writing, basically. And then they're gonna do the election day shared reading again, and then they're gonna do a Veterans Day craft. I haven't thought about what I want it to be. And I also wanna find a video for Veterans Day, but I haven't found a good one yet. So I'm gonna find a video and then they're gonna do a Veterans Day craft. And then instead of the small group time, like, cause normally I would pull groups for reading, I'm gonna give her my teaching iPad and I'm gonna make a sign that says I am a leader and have her take pictures of each kid during that time while the other kids are working on the craft, because I want the picture to go along with their writing, and yeah, I think that's something easy that they could do. And then for their actual writing time, they're gonna actually write down the ideas, what would they do? So they talked about it as a group, and they're just gonna get some ideas down on paper and basically start their rough draft. I don't expect them to get too far in this because they do have a substitute. Hopefully I have a really good one who will kind of help them with their ideas, but I'm not sure, so I'm not really expecting too much on this day. For math, they're gonna watch a video, Sid the Science Kid, and it's basically this video where this kid is like measuring the room with his body. Yeah, so then they're gonna make a little measuring monster. So I'm going to leave an example craft of a couple of monsters, and they're gonna get to make their own little measuring monster that they can use to measure things around the room. So I thought that'd be really, really cute. I'm gonna leave like googly eyes, and it'll be fantastic. So then on Thursday, I'm going to read Duck for President again. We're gonna talk about the major events, the problem and solution, and then our shared reading again. Basically, this is the same. I just teach it a little bit differently. And then my 3 guided reading groups. We're gonna continue the rough draft that I'm hoping they got started on Wednesday, but not really sure if they did. And then we're gonna work on adding our closing sentence. And then I'm going to review measuring just because it will have been since Monday since I talked about it with them. And we're gonna start talking about the vocabulary shortest to longest, and we're gonna use our measuring monsters to measure things. And then on Friday, we do our spelling test, it's like a quiz on verbs, but I don't count. It's kind of like more of a review. And then our culminating task, which is a graphic organizer of character, setting, and major events. I'm gonna give the punctuation I keep wanting to say commentative formative assessment. Punctuation common formative assessment. And then I'm going to start giving the reading common formative assessment like I mentioned. So for writing, we're going to basically kind of wrap it all up, and then for math, we are going to do shortest to longest again, and we're gonna do things around the room. And I definitely want to spend 2 days on this. I think maybe one day I might focus just on shortest to longest and then longest to shortest. I'm not really sure yet. We'll see how it goes. And these are my to-dos. So these are my plans for the week. This is what I do every week. And basically I'm gonna create a PowerPoint with all this in it. But like I said, I'm probably only gonna do the PowerPoint for Monday, and then I'll work the rest on Tuesday because I just feel like it. All right, so that was basically my planning for this week. I know that was probably kind of rough, and I'm about to make my PowerPoint for Monday. I don't think I'm gonna film it just because I put that in my other vlog, and I feel like this vlog would just be really, really long. So I'm showing you different parts of my planning each week. I feel like I do want to film a full-on plan with me, where I actually write the plans with you. I'm just not sure. Maybe I'll do that next week. I don't know, but now I'm going to make the PowerPoint for Monday. I'm going to reply to some of your comments on YouTube, edit my vlog from last week because it's not up. I'm kind of like a week behind, so I'm going to try to get that done and up. So that was my planning for this week. It was kind of rough, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm having a real hard time this week, and I usually don't, but we'll see how it goes. I hope you guys don't mind me being in my pajamas, but some days that's just the way it goes. I'm a real person just like you, and yeah, I love you guys. Thank you so much for sticking around. If there is something that you'd really like to see me do, I know I have a comment right now that says, are you still planning on doing a guided reading binder walkthrough from Kendall's kindergarten? And yes, I plan on doing that. I just have what feels like a lot on my plate right now. Maybe this week things will settle down and maybe I could actually film that on Tuesday since I have Tuesday off. We'll see, but I love you guys. I love talking to you guys. I love that you were here and I enjoy hearing from you. So I will talk to you next week. Remember, you can always reach me here by commenting in the comment section down below. You can reach me on Instagram at Miss Calls Campers, or you can email me at calltheteacher@gmail.com. Bye guys.